What's up, everybody, and welcome to the ITG Gamecast, where every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we go live to talk about everything we love in the world of video games and a whole lot more. As always, I'm Drew Bullsley, joined by my good friend, Steve Radley. Steve, how are you, man?
Hello. Not too bad, thank you, Drew. Not too bad.
Good to have you
here again.
Thank you for showing up again this week, once again. And as always, you see him each and every day, join alongside me on ITG Daily. It's none other than Scott Savage. Scott, what's going on, man?
That's right. Oh, it's another week of games to crush, as I always do. I'm always hungry.
Always something to play. I find we're even like in a bit of a low right now as far as like the hot games. We've been on so many, wrapped a bunch of stuff up, but we'll get into what we're playing. But first up, boys, let me tell you a little story.
Ooh.
I went to go pick up my son today. He was at the grandparents' house, right? He's been babysat today by my parents. Very appreciative. And as I leave my garage, I get out on the road. I drive out of my garage. I get onto the road. As I turn the corner, guys, there's a worm on my windshield. And I'm like, what is this doing here? Now, logical sense means you should probably stop, maybe get it off. I turned on my wipers.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, maybe that's not the smartest thing to do. It just moved it all over the place. So eventually I just reached out my arm and flung off this worm. But like, how did a worm, like I'm in my garage. What's a worm?
Hey, yeah, what?
Doing, I don't.
Did he pick up and flick it?
I don't, we've got some birds hovering around our house lately. And Crystal's Jeep has been like just a bombshell. Oh yeah, she's washed her Jeep the other day like 3 times in 1 week because it just got nailed so many times. But yeah, it's been it was that. I was like, that was weird. But oh no, I had a good weekend though, guys. I don't know about you. What'd you guys do over the weekend? Steve, what'd you do? Anything?
Actually, I had a big tidy up. I started off doing the usual chores, like me laundry and things like that, vacuuming. I thought vacuum a room, and I thought, oh, my keyboard looks a bit dusty. And then it got from bad to worse because I'd done my keyboard, then the mouse looked dusty, then all the lights, all the stands, I could see dust on that. Then it was the monitors. Then I cleared everything off the table, wiped it all down, then decided I don't like the position of my desk. So I tweaked that around. So then it's like the cables are not long enough. Get the power extension cords out. Mess all that around, mess around with the lighting. But I'm happy with the setup. So that was most of the time. And then I did play quite a few games as well, which we'll get into in a minute.
We will get into, absolutely. Scott, you do anything on the weekend?
No, nothing at all. I'm trying to think of really anything that I did. It was very relaxed. I did a lot of sleeping.
That's not so bad.
Very characteristic of me.
Yeah. I did some sleeping the other night. It was from 8 o'clock to 11:30. Woke up, had some sushi, and played some games. It was some.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It was an eventful day. We'll call it that much. That was over the weekend. We hung out with some friends. Logan had soccer. Little guy had soccer. Man, he loves soccer. He has a ton of fun playing that. It's cool to see him go. So, and then I'm trying to think what I did Sunday. I played some games. Is what I was really. No, it's not football. Steve, over here we call it soccer. I just caught on.
There's a satellite delay.
Yeah. So it was a good weekend, all in all. Though it's funny how fast it goes. Like man, oh man, like just in no blink of an eye, I'm like, wow, that was well. There goes the weekend. Back to work we go, and it's just kind of into the next, right? But
that happens to me every single day. I'm like, oh, finally I'm awake, and it's a couple hours of sunlight still. All right.
Yeah.
Not that I've literally been asleep. I've just been lazing about. Don't have energy.
Well, boys, let's get into it. What have we been playing? Scott, I'm going to kick it over to you first. What have you been playing lately?
Oh, what's on my mind right now is No Rest for the Wicked. I really just can't drop that from my mind. But that's partially because of the work associated with it. I did some work on it today. But that game just has me. It has my mind. I keep thinking back to that one. But besides that, Wreckfest. I'm back into racing games. You know what? It's all coming back to me. That's what the weekend was. The weekend was a lot of Wreckfest, and it's a racing game. It's several years old now, I think, at this point. But that doesn't matter to me. I'll go back and play The Crew 2, perhaps, after this one. Doesn't matter to me. I just like to have a comfort racing game, and that's the one.
Nice. My comfort racing game is Forza Horizon 3.
Oh, it's been so long.
It's a good one, man. It's so good. Yeah, I really
we should play
enjoy
5.
That's on my to-do list.
To play which ones? Any of them, Steve, or like one in particular, or the newest one?
I've not played. I've not played any.
Ooh, man, 3 is probably still my favorite. 5 is great, no, without a doubt. But 3 is still like, man, it's such a cool. It's in Australia, right? Which is just a sick ass place to go. So it's a ton of fun to be over there. And I really, really love that one. That's one of my go-tos when I'm like, I'm in the mood for racing. Where am I going? That's what I'm going. But do you play anything else?
Not that I can think of, really.
Just Wreckfest.
Just PUBG and Wreckfest and some Battlefield. Just to jump in and see what's going on with those. There is a map, I believe, dropping tomorrow. Stadium is added back into the game. It was part of another map. I think that's still the case. But I got in and they added the hover bike. You and I, we didn't get a chance to play the hover bike when we did our preview. It's cool. I kind of wish it had like a bundle you could drop, like a C4.
Yeah.
Because then I could be offensive with it, but it's pretty fun.
Nice. Steve, what about you? What you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of a game that I'm doing with Corey, Goons, Legends, and Mayhem.
Yeah.
Like a good spin on a hockey game. I also jumped back into Evil West in between tidying my room and doing stuff, or the office. So played a little bit more Evil West. That is still a fun game. I know, like I said, it's linear, but graphically it looks really cool. Going that way. Played a little bit more of Alan Wake as well, remastered.
How's that going?
That's going right, not too bad. I'm only on like chapter 3. Okay. So there's quite a long play out. So I'm taking my time. I sort of depends what mood I'm in when I'm playing the game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So if I want to start a bit more fast paced, I might play a bit of Evil West, or a bit more of a suspense. I'll do the Alan Wake. But I actually also did a match on Predecessor as well.
Ooh.
Jumped into that.
Well, now you're talking my lingo. And how did that go? Do tell.
I did die loads. I'm still trying to look for a dash or a kind of dodge button, but there is none is there. It's just keep out of the way, just shoot at everything on the way.
What console are you playing on?
Xbox.
Hit the Y button.
Series X.
So that's called your flash. You can blink out of the way, but then it's got a cooldown of 300 seconds. So it takes a while to come back. Yeah, just give you a heads up on that.
I've caught it by accident, yeah. So I did it, but it's my first sort of battle, so to speak. Did
he lock up? He may have locked up.
Fallout 4.
Oh, there he's back.
Fallout 4. Yeah.
Nice.
And the other one was Fallout 4, and that was on PlayStation. I started playing that.
So did you watch the show?
Yes.
And then so it pulled you enough in with the show that you're like, all right, now I'm gonna go check out the game. Welcome to the rest of the planet, right?
I saw the beginning of the show, and the beginning of number 4 is the same event. You see the bombs drop.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody playing it while playing it, like they were watching the show, but they were playing the game in VR mode, and it was both simultaneously happening at the same time. I'm like, this is so extra for me, but just to feel like you were there.
I don't know if we've lost Steve completely, but we can keep going with what I've been up to there, Scott. Even you're looking a little pixelated at the moment, but we'll see how it comes back around, hopefully.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was
just Steve? Apparently not.
I'm in the Twilight Zone always. I keep saying that, and it becomes more true each time.
Yeah, we'll see if Steve's hopefully able to make his way back. I think he might just have to dip out. But he might make his way back, and then we'll put him back into the show. But yeah, I've been on... I've been taking a trip down memory lane, to say the least. So you caught me. You messaged me the other day. There he goes. So you messaged me the other day, which I thought was funny, because you caught me. I checked out Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and I was like, huh.
Busted.
Yeah. I'm like, how is it? Like, I saw a bunch of clips come up recently and how it's going. I'm like, man, maybe I should jump back in and see. The gunplay is fantastic, dude. Like, the gunplay mechanic just feels solid. It just hits on all points for me, and it's just one of those. It's a comfort thing, right? Like, that's the biggest thing for me. It's just that comfort setting, the comfort feel of going in and going, man, this is really, really cool. And I just wish it had a better launch, really, is what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, that's what I fell away from it. I haven't paid attention to it in years now. Well, when did that game even come out now?
Oh, man.
2020 or was it 2019?
I'd have to look it up, but it's probably at this point, it's got to be It's got to be 4 years old, right? It's got to be 2020, I would think.
It must have been 2020. Yeah, it was before my cursed summer. I remember that much. But
yeah. So it hit. I didn't stick around long because I think I got hit up, and next thing you know, I think we jumped into playing something else together or something along that line. But I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit and shoot around, and yeah, it just feels cool. It felt like home, right? It just felt like going home again. And I take a look, I'm like 117 hours. I was like, yeah, I put my time in. I played that game for a while, without a doubt. So
yeah, I don't think I've played 117 hours of Ghost Recon my whole life. You'd have to include GameCube.
There he's back again. Maybe, kind of, sort of. He's working on it. We'll see if he's able to stick around, Steve. But yeah, when I took a look, I was like, holy man, I'm 117 hours in on this thing right now. And then we took a look. Steve was 320 hours. I was like, wow. So
yeah, there's a huge amount to that game. I can't. Well, it's a Ubisoft open world game, so you could almost go forever.
Yeah. Steve, we were just talking about what I was been playing. I jumped into Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Oh wow!
I know. Yeah. So I said I knew that you played it too, right? So I took a look. I'm like, I bounced in, and the minute you bounce in, it shows you your hours in the top corner. I'm like, man, I'm 117 hours in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know Steve played. I'm flipping through my phone because you can pull up, you can see what you put in, right? So I pull you up. I'm like, holy, Steve's got 320 hours into Breakpoint. I was like, man, the dude played, which is cool, right? Like, yeah.
I did die loads. A lot of missions were hard. I did die loads, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Ubisoft game, though. So what do you percentage done do you think that is? 300 something hours. I'm gonna say probably 70 plus, but.
And do you know the funny thing is I did enjoy it, even though the certain bits were broken. But if I maybe played Wildlands beforehand, would I have the same passion that I did in like Breakpoint? Because again, you got to think I'm a bit of an older gamer, so I've not had years of experience like you guys and all the different genres and franchises of a game. So everything I'm playing nowadays is kind of, oh, this is new to me. So it's all like a brand new experience for me, and I did really enjoy Breakpoint, even though a lot of people was like it was broken and it
was broken.
Comparison,
yeah. At the time, it was really rough. And
the thing is, the more and more I play more Ubisoft games as well, the more and more you sort of see certain trends or certain game mechanics are the same. If you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, you know when it's a Ubisoft game, right? It has that. Oh, this is a Ubisoft title. I think that's when we kind of got lost in the world of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, because it was such a departure and a bit of a shock, right? And going, holy man, like this is out of Ubisoft. Like, this is really different. This is a nice new spin on it. And then some people loved it, like Scott and myself, and then others just didn't like it. So it was kind of a funny take, right? But
I don't know if we'd played a Ubisoft two-dimensional game before that. I never played Rayman. That would have been the only two-dimensional one I can think of.
No, absolutely not. Dude, when you talk about Ghost Recon Wildlands, I had more than 117 hours into that game. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, you 100% of that one, didn't you?
I'm this close to 100%. I'm just shy.
The last guy. Is it the guy on the building, you said?
No, I beat him. It's I can't remember what my achievement is, but there's a thing. But I'm telling you right now, after 100%ing Assassin's Creed Mirage, I no longer care about 100%ing anything on an Xbox. it doesn't do anything for me. If it pops a platinum, well, then it's something different, man. It gives me that, haha, you've done it all, good job. It's like a little pat on the back. Xbox is like, did you do something? Yeah. I'm like, oh,
it's
man.
It's so funny to me
know what?
That you demand that pat on the back.
Absolutely. I need to be rewarded. Show me my efforts, right? Reward me for my efforts is how I look at that. And Xbox just doesn't care. I'm like, man, when are you guys going to revamp your achievement system? Because it is old
they should have,
and outdated.
I want them to be like a tally of how many games you've 100%ed. Call that platinums or whatever. That would be a way of...
PlayStation does.
Yeah, but the thing is, how do you do something like that without copying someone else, your competitors?
Nah, you don't. You
can't do trophies because then they say, oh, you're copying PlayStation.
Oh, I'm waiting for Nintendo.
They've got their own unique way.
Oh, I wonder what Nintendo's going to do for Switch 2.
Right? They ribbons.
They need participation ribbons. All right, I'm gonna move on to other things I've been playing. So I jumped into that. Do you guys recall a little game called Hood Outlaws
and
Legends? I jumped in. I'm like, so I'm in a weird spot, right? I'm at a point now where I'm caught up for most of my review games. I'm like, I got a bit of a gap here. I'm going to kind of bounce in to see what's happening here or there and check things out, right? So I'm working on Banishers for review, which I'm still adoring at this moment as I'm pushing forward to kind of get that taken care of. So then as I'm moving forward through that, I'm like, well, I have a bit of time here. Well, I'm going to go check out. So I jumped into Breakpoint. I jumped into Hood Outlaws and Legends. I went in. There is nobody playing the competitive side, but the minute I jumped in for the co-op only, dude, I instantly got a match. There's 2 other guys there. Wasn't a full lobby, because you can full lobby with 4 people. There was 3 of us, and we beat the state and had it. It still feels so good. And I just, man, did you guys miss an opportunity? It was just, Newcastle just blew it, unfortunately. I think they had a game plan with just the execution. It's still, so it ended on season 3. It's still season 3 in the game after years old, right? There's been no updates, no nothing. I was shocked, honestly, that the servers were still on. But I thought, I'm just going to see, because I just had an urge for that game. And I was like, man, if they would have kept, like, okay, here we get into Predecessor, right? Because I've been playing that too. Of course, I've been playing that. Happy to announce I prestiged my Lieutenant Bellica. She now has the Prestige skin, and now I'm on to Chimera, which puts me out probably about 4 matches, and I'll have that Prestige skin as well. I put my time in over on PlayStation. I'm coming up to 120 hours now at this point. That's where I'm at for this.
Is there a ranked mode at this point? I don't think there is, right?
Not yet. It's coming, but you got to be at level 30 in order to get to ranked. So I'm grinding that out because last I checked, I think I was only 23, 24. So I still have a couple more ranks to get going to level up to get to into ranked for when that drops next month. So it's coming in May, some point. We don't know when the official release date, as far as I've known. But there's a couple other things cooking for that. Stay tuned. But it's one of those things like, man, Predecessor feels so good. But when Predecessor dropped, they already had like 30 heroes, right? Where Hood Outlaws and Legends dropped with 4. And then they gave us the 5th. And that was it. And then it's done. And everybody's like, well, what's next? Like, what else do you got?
Does that sound like you? It sounds a bit like Anthem.
Right? It is the lack of... it's the lack of having content ready to go, locked and loaded for that games as service model. And they blew it, right? Which is so disappointing because I loved Hood Outlaws and Legends from the co-op side to the competitive side, right? The PvP I thought was fantastic. People are actually hosting tournaments. Like, we're getting to the stage. Like, you guys just let it go too soon. You guys weren't ready, right? I don't know if they're short on funding. They're hoping to get some money in, people in, whatever. But they just let it go way too soon and just cost them. It just cost them the game. And it cost...
But do you think it's that kind of... We've talked about it before, like it's that niche of games. It's the Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th.
Well,
the asymmetric
showdown. It's that kind of 4 squads, just co-op only.
Well, this one's different though, right? Like it was 4 versus 4, and then what if you? I can't remember if there was an opportunity. Was there? I think it was just 2 teams you're going up against, and then the PvE side, right? So it was PvEVP. So you had 2 teams of 4 plus the enemy of the state, and you had to go hunt down the big sheriff, grab the key, go get the chest, and then take the chest over and then hoist it up, right? And then you'd win. And then some you could donate to the people, or you could take it all for yourself. Depends on what you wanted to level up. It was such a cool system. And I thought, man, you got it. Like, you have something special here. Will we ever see a return to this game? I doubt it, because I think they lost the momentum, right? They just lost it all so early. If they would have launched and said, hey, here's a dozen heroes for you to start off with. We already have planned another 10. Here's when they're coming. Here's the roadmap. Predecessor right now, every week, updates us on something. There's always, here's something happening. Here's this, here's that. I just got notes today on the new patch that's coming, right? Always another patch. There's always transparency coming out of Omega Studios and their Twitter feed and this, that, and the other, where there's nothing for Hood Outlaws and Legends, and it was just let out there to die. And it's like, man, like,
And that hood, that hood idea on paper is so good that I'm
Dude,
wondering
it's
why other companies
money.
haven't taken that and done it properly. And I'm thinking I don't want to beat up on
But it's
Payday
probably not
3 too
done
much, but
properly. You mean expand on it because the concept is still
yeah.
good,
Yeah.
but it just needs a little bit more there to get people involved. I think.
Well, like I like that idea of stealth PvE. And then if you add another second team in there as your rival too, that's extra cool to me. But I'm wondering, is that what Marathon's going to play like? All these extraction shooters, it's kind of
Too fast
almost
paced
the
though.
same thing, but it's yeah. It forces you to rely on stealth, and you're not going to one shot everybody. So it was cool that way.
Yeah.
I almost loaded up similarly though, that kind of stealth play, take down one at a time the
Yeah.
whole way through. I was thinking of Aragami #1 this time.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
played a ton of #2.
Yeah, you
Still
did.
didn't beat it, and then I went back to #1, and I downloaded it, I loaded it up, and then I didn't actually play it.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, that's kind of where I was like, man, I'm just feeling a little nostalgia for some of these games. Let me jump back into some of the past. Right? It's funny because we saw a report not too long ago that everybody's jumping into older games. Everybody right now plays
Yeah.
older games. We're playing PUBG. We're playing Siege still on a regular basis. We were in Siege last night. Like, how old is that game? That game is 10 years old. 10 years old, right? But we're also into new games. It's the nature of what we do here, so we're always moving forward. But there's still that comfort of returning back to what is familiar, what do we like, right? I guess at the end of the day, and is that competitive side of things. And so yeah, and then of course I'm just all in on Predecessor. Predecessor just has, I'll just sit down and I'll play 2, 3, 4, 5 games. It just depends on what else is happening. But
Not big rounds either, are they? They're quite lengthy.
they can be, yeah. It's so I played on the weekend, right? And I had one game, they surrendered in like 18 minutes. We were steamrolling them, right? And then the other game I lost in, I think it was like half hour, and then another game was 45 minutes. So I've seen
That's
it.
what I played.
Yeah, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
back and forth, not like that.
did you play the AI or did you go PvP?
I think it went PvP.
Oh man, you're a brave soul. Good job, Steve. Jump right in, buddy. Jump right in. I like it.
Like I said, I did die loads, so it kind of respawned back at base and it flew off again.
Very cool.
Bearings, but yeah, I'm only on like level 11, level up to 11.
There's a lot to learn when it comes to a MOBA, especially if you've never played a MOBA before. And then when you get into the way the Predecessor works, it's just I'm still learning some of the items myself and how do I counter this item against somebody else's item and what should I build? Like when Crunch comes in, I'm like, man, I gotta go tanky. I've got to build in so I can take physical damage and be ready to go. Especially if I'm playing Chimera, right? So I'm the other jungler, and then you got to be able to hang with this guy because. Man, he comes in and he can just steamroll the whole team at times. It is nuts. So yeah, very cool. I just love the game. Absolutely love the game.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back into it again and sort of keep picking at it, level up and that, get more experience.
Nice. Now, guys, let's move on. I think we talked about. Oh, it's already halfway through the show, and we're only through what we've been playing. So I knew it'd be a little long. It always is, and it's always a ton of fun to get caught up and see what everybody's playing. But Steve, I'm gonna bounce it over to you. What's in or out this week for you?
Well, before I got cut off
Yeah.
with my internet, Fallout 4, and what you were saying about did the program pull me in? Yes, it did. I think the first 8 episodes of the season, it kind of now I know what the main gist of the story is.
Sure.
Instead of like playing the first one and then this to speech bubbles or people talking to me to find out what's going on. But I actually opted to play it on PS5 as well. And I have to say that reason as well was because of the upgrade.
How is the upgrade for you? Because I've heard problems about the upgrade.
I've had no issues with the upgrade at all.
Fair enough.
I've heard it could be possibility. It could be on the Xbox side, like the glitching. But I know possible. Brian at work, he's also playing it as well. And he told me he loves Fallout game, and he's actually gone right at the beginning of this one because of the update, the improved graphics and things like that. Started all over again, and he said it's looking really good, and I'm enjoying it as well. And I got a question for you, Scott. Is the aim and the shooting in this game that bad, like they did in the show, when he just misses everything? Because starting off when I picked up a gun, and then you have like the crawling insect things coming towards you and they jump at you. I fired a whole clip and I missed it at point blank range. It shot all the way around it, and it still attacked me.
Oh man, if it seems like you're not holding the trigger, but it can't be that simple. That's a problem. I would say
that bad to the games. Was the shooting that bad? Aim.
I don't remember it. It's heavy. It's clunky, as Drew would undoubtedly say. It is very clunky, but I would say if that's giving you a hard time, just go melee only.
Yeah. That's what someone advised me to do as well. Just go for the punching and the melee and.
Cool. How many hours are you in?
I'm only about 2, so I've only just really started, but I'm really already enjoying it, and it's already one of these ones of I'm enjoying the exploration already. I've not gone too far, and it's like I know little tips here, collect the cores, but use them sparingly, your power cores, and look around and collect everything as well. And then
that's the best part is the exploration, man. So many times I would just get lost for hours. Just know how symbols pop up on your compass?
Yep.
But you might not have discovered them yet. I would just go to every one of those like a honeybee.
Yeah. So I'm already sort of like at the sanctuary, I believe. So there's always sort of houses nearby that I'm looking forward to just explore them and try and pick as much stuff up and get into the crafting as well, which is another thing I didn't realize is you got building and crafting in this.
Yeah. That's the first time they introduced it, wasn't it, Scott? It was within Fallout 4. They introduced the building system. Right. Yeah.
And this is the first Fallout game you've played?
Correct.
Okay. Now this, if I may, jumps into my in or out. My out is Fallout related. Now, before anybody gets alarmed, I love Fallout. Here? My out is the gatekeeping regarding Fallout. And it's easy. Everybody has their favorite one, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Objectively, I want to say it's New Vegas, but that is my opinion, and that's okay. It can just be my opinion, and yours could be different. That's fine. The problem I see is online people. All right, I'm new. I watched the show. Where do I start?
Yeah.
And to that I say, spin the bottle. There's really nothing wrong. You can choose anything, and it'll be great.
Each story's different
because that doesn't fit.
Yeah. And you know what? And the thing is, because of the upgrade for me as well, when they said because it ties with the show, they've improved a lot of the bugs and the fixes. And I did hear a lot of issues earlier on from our good friend Nate. Stuff like that of the game. So now playing it now, it's not playing too bad, and I'm enjoying the graphics and the story so far.
Cool. It is the most modern. So I would say if you're a new player and you want to start, go for something more modern because it won't hit you with that old clunkiness as badly. Although you've discovered it's still a little clunky. But that's Fallout. I think that's the engine they use. I'm not sure if it's the same with Starfield exactly, or if it's just, Anvil 1 versus Anvil 2. But it's clunky, whatever it is. They need a new engine over there at Bethesda.
Yeah, that's fair. So I got 2 in and outs actually. One is something I don't do very often, and it's actually watch TV. And right, I know. So Crystal and I have been watching Ahsoka. It's the Star Wars spinoff, and man, it is cool. I like Star Wars. I really do enjoy Star Wars as a whole, as a brand, and I like where they're taking these new spinoffs. And we get Ahsoka now, and she is cool. She's really, really cool. Like her storyline. We're up to our third episode, so we're about to start the 4th one. So we're still early, but I'm just kind of getting caught up, right? I'm just go watch this, go watch that. I was just, man, I don't watch TV. Like at the end of the day, I'd rather pick up a controller, sit down, chill out, and play a game, or get all heated and play some PvP. So it depends on the mood, I guess, and how well the games go. But yeah, we're like, you know what? We were watching this. We should get back into it. And we started watching it. It's like, man, and then it always leads you off to the cliffhanger. Like, did we watch another one? And then we got hit up, and the other night we got whatever. The other one was something
how much of that show is there out?
It's the whole season's out. It is out. It's already been out. I think there's 8 episodes. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it won't take much to breeze through, right? But again, I don't watch TV. Like I just do not watch it. It's funny how we work because we are a television show, but at the same time, I don't watch TV because I'm too busy playing everything else to get stuff for the show. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those funny things, right?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, well, I like it. Like it's what I like to do, right? But yeah, it's nice to also sit down sometimes, chill out, and I think we had like a glass of wine and we just watched Ahsoka. I'm like, man, this is what a cool show, what a cool character, and how they're building it up is really, really cool. Just some of the effects are just amazing. I love Star Wars. I really do. Not to the point where like Corey's hardcore. Or even if you talk to our buddy Kyle, I've never met anybody more hardcore Star Wars than Kyle. To the point where, like, you want to know something, you just ask Kyle, right? And he'll tell you, because he's gone even as far as watching all the animated stuff too, all the cartoons. It's true.
Wow.
If you're gonna get into Ahsoka, watch this first. I went, no.
What about the games though?
Love the games.
Do you know if Kyle's played Shadow of the Empire? That's the one on 64.
I don't know. I played Force
played
Unleashed. No, I don't. No, I played Force Unleashed. That was good. That was good. 2 wasn't as good as the first one.
2 being like a DLC.
Yeah.
It just felt like an extra expansion. That was it.
Yeah. And then we got into the Jedi and the latest Jedi games from Respawn, right? And now we're getting a new one from Ubisoft, massive, with Star Wars Outlaws, which I am pumped for. I can't wait. This summer, I'm calling it, boys. We're gonna get it this summer, right? I think it's been slated now. I think actually by Ubisoft.
I'm wondering, did they have a summer
July.
date? Or was it?
I think they did release a date now, haven't they?
Did they? Oh, August 30th. I think it's August 30th, isn't it?
I think
I was
there is a
thinking
release
September,
date.
but
Nah.
No.
All right, look it up, Scott. Look it up. Yeah. So okay, so that's my first one, and then the other I'm on right now is just living and breathing in this world called No Rest for the Wicked. It is.
Yes.
It is just magic. I wish it was out. I want it on console. Right now I'm playing it on my PC, and I'm just down here so much. I just don't want to be on my PC, right? So instead I grabbed my Logitech device. I got my Logitech G Cloud. Then I'm playing it on a much smaller screen. So sometimes if I want to get just a prettier vision and see more, I come down on the computer. But it's very rarely I want to come back on my computer. But yeah, I'm all in on No Rest for the Wicked. Like, I'm now into this whole crafting mechanic within the game, which is just going to suck up so much time.
I've been kind of cautiously avoiding that bit because there's just something to learn. I'm like, I'll get there. I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
But, that was the August 30th confirmed, by the way.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more Star Wars. As we're probably not going to get Jedi, whatever they're going to call it, 3 for another few more years at least, right? So this will tie us over. Yeah. But yeah, man, like No Rest for the Wicked. First of all, Moon Studios just has such a unique art style. Like, it is incredible. I love their art direction. Loved it with Ori, and just now getting
play Ori.
Dude, it's so good. How can you not play Ori? It is fantastic. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible, right? So to have Ori and then Will of the Wisp and Ori and the Blind Forest, those games were just stunning. And then to take a different perspective and get into No Rest for the Wicked, I do wish we were a little bit closer, Scott, to our character. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But the world itself is gorgeous.
Today when I was looking at game clips of it, putting it together, I was thinking, it would be nice because you had echoed, I wish I could control the camera, and you can't even do that, so that's a problem.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to pivot in the world itself around, like, just to see from different angles and things. But yeah, super, super freaking cool game, man. It is. I'm anxious to see where they do take this, and when do we get a full release? And then let me ask you guys this. So this is early access, right? Do you dive all in on an early access game where you're like, it's not all out, and I know I'm going to be ending up playing this over my console? How much time do you want to spend playing an early access game that isn't finished?
Yeah, it's something that I try not to do as much now, but I don't really. I'm not sure that I've thought about it too much.
I think I'd rather wait.
Yeah.
I think now, over the last years, I think sometimes games shouldn't even be released, and they've been released. A lot of things have got slipped through a lot more than what I think they used to, or it's just rushed or crunched because of the deadlines, which again, it's not the guys that do it, but the amount of times we've played a game, given it a lower mark because the graphics or the performance, or if it crashes your system and it restarts, and then it says, oh, a year later, here's the patch that's now 100% complete. I mean, obviously Cyberpunk's going to be a good example.
That's an example, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, they were lucky enough the fan base stuck around and they kept playing it and stuck with them. But to be honest with you, I would have that would be coming back on my console again after I got to where I did, like upteen crashes, glitches, people just walking across, cars doing funny things. It's, do you really want the early access? Because we're harsh on the game developers sometimes, and it's not necessarily their fault, or they shouldn't just release it.
It's they have to be prepared, I think, for what's ahead of them, right? Because it is early access. Yeah, we're supposed to take note too. Oh, it's early access, so expect bugs, crashes, texture pop in, this, that, and the other, right? At the same time, if you're at that level and you're still experiencing that, then don't put it out, right? Like that's the other side. Yeah. So for me,
a beta, do like a stress test,
sure,
like chest servers.
Hades 2 just did that, right? Hades 2 just did a stress test where people are able to dive in. One. Yeah, I missed it too. But a lot of people dove in, had a good time, and they're like, cool. Like they feel like it's almost done. Where I feel right now with No Rest for the Wicked, it feels finished. Like I don't know about you guys, but for me, I feel like it is almost done. Like so. Well, I shouldn't say you guys. More Scott. Steve still hasn't played it yet. But it's like Scott. I feel like we're at a level like, man, this has got to feel like you're almost done. But yeah, you take a look. They've got a whole roadmap for just the early access, and I don't, man. But again, like I jumped in early access on Predecessor for the whole year, PlayStation, and then it came out. But I'm able to carry all my stuff over, right? That's the thing. Everything I've done on PlayStation stays with me on Predecessor. The problem I'm having the hard time with is that everything I'm about to do on my PC for No Rest for the Wicked, when it goes to console, I gotta start all over again.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt a little bit. Or you just will have played enough by then.
Downtime.
It'll feel good.
Well, yeah. Or I've played enough that I just won't want to play when it comes to console. Like I don't know, right?
Yeah, that might happen too. It depends on the. Well, I think though what you've eliminated is there are some good examples of some early access games.
Yeah.
But my overall feeling of it is negative, and I don't know if that's fair anymore. When you look at something, I think Pal World is an early access. I've played all that I'll ever play at Pal World. That's done.
Sure.
And that's fine. I enjoyed it. It passed. It got a check from me on that one. But there's other early access games that I'm thinking of, and I'm like, well, like, I'm trying to remember some examples of ones that just haven't worked out very well. But I think it's games.
I think we did one, Scott. I think we did one where I couldn't progress through. It was a narrative story one, and I think it went to a cutscene of the girl, the mum laying on the bed, and it would just lock up, and it would just boot me out.
That's a great example. That was
Unfixable, that wasn't Layers of Fear.
Oh, Anthology of Fear. That was that one, which unfortunately was broken. I had to brute force my way through it and was able to fix that issue. But like you say, never should have been an issue there.
Yeah. Especially on like early access or
and a horror suspense joint. Yeah, man, you don't want that breaking up the pace. That's awful.
Yeah, it's just man. So yeah, I don't know. I'm as much as I'm loving the game and I'm all in on it. It's just like, how much more time do I really want to put into this? But part of me is just like, I can't get away. I just keep getting called back in. So I'll grab my device and I'll jump in. I got 15 minutes. I can go grab an item. I can go craft this or go build that. And it just sucks me right in, man. No Rest for the Wicked, absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning. When the daytime comes out and you're up in the castle and you look over across the courtyard, I'm like, oh wow, this is stunning.
There's a couple nice vistas.
Oh, right? Yeah. Super cool. But guys, let's get into topic of the show before we close off the show. We tend to do this often here. Who wants to take it first? What game do we feel people should not miss? Like, we feel something that's kind of came and went and people just kind of blew by it, didn't look at it twice, and you're just missing out. Steve, I'm going to kick it to you. What do you got?
You know what? I think we're both guilty of this one, and I'm picking Telltale, The Expanse.
Fair.
Oh.
Because when we first played the first chapter, I think it was like 8.5 and a 9 we gave it, or something like that. The storyline was amazing. It actually got me addicted to watching it on TV, the TV show.
That's cool.
And I can see the comparison because I think one of the actresses that plays in the show does the voiceover in the game as well. And we only got to episode 1, I think it was, and we never played any more out of the other 6 episodes. And I think we sort of missed out on that one. at the moment.
The reason why, right? Here's where the dilemma comes in, is that okay? Here's the release date. You got your game. You got it early. We got the code, right? We get in. We're able to play it in time, and then that's episode 1.
Yeah.
Then we wait, and then we wait. Yeah. And then you gotta wait for episode 2. By then, I'm already on something else, right? And it's just like, oh, I know I should get back to it, but I just didn't. Is they piecemealed it out. Remember when Hitman did the same thing?
I was going to bring up Hitman.
Right? It was like, no. And so when they launched Hitman 3, dude, it's the whole game. And I just don't know.
Maybe,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe this would be something maybe we should redo now all the episodes are out.
All right.
It was good. Now we've got all the episodes. There's nothing stopping us waiting for the next one to come out. All of them should be out now.
Yeah. No,
the whole story.
The whole thing is out, so yeah, we could definitely sit down, and they're not that long, right? They're like maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours per episode.
Yeah.
So
and the thing is, the only reason why I sort of mentioned this one as well is because I know when The Wolf Amongst Us 2 comes out, it's going to be the same heavy narrative, and I just don't want to miss out on the opportunity of The Expanse. Like, that was done really, really well as well.
Did you play the first The Wolf Among Us?
I played a little bit on it, and I sort of enjoyed it, but I definitely, that'll be something I'll probably to-do list. I'll probably jump into the first one again, and
we'll do a revisit, because I downloaded it too and haven't jumped back in yet, but we're going to do that in preparation of season 2 or whatever they're calling The Wolf Among Us 2. And then, maybe we'll do that, because it ties in, right? It ties in.
The first one.
Yeah.
I need to play the first one again because there's one scene that lives in my head, and it's the underpass. That's all I need to say. But it's just the village, and oh man, I want to go back and figure out what happened to those people, those fairy tale creatures. I love that game.
But that's
Toad's car in it at the beginning, the very first bit, when the big guy falls out the window.
Yeah,
Toad's car.
Man, so cool. What a concept too. I had never even heard of The Wolf Among Us beforehand. Before it came to the game, I didn't realize that is actually a whole comic series, right? The Fables.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they're called The Fables, and it's basically the premise of The Wolf Among Us. Like, man, what a wild idea. Cool idea.
Very dark.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you make a valid point with that one. I think that a lot of people did look over The Expanse, but I think it's because of how the release came out. If they would have released the whole game, I think it might have been a bit of a different conversation, right? But I also think that genre isn't quite for everybody either.
It's a bit niche.
I was gonna say that,
but yeah,
being a sci-fi on top of that, science fiction somehow puts people off. I don't quite understand those people, but it's not for everybody, it seems. I have a pick in the spirit of science fiction. My game that seemingly everybody has passed over, and that is an awful shame, and that is Talos Principle 2. The Talos Principle number 1 is an excellent puzzle game, and number 2 just kind of took it to the next level. Everything is bigger, better, new mechanics, because it's a puzzle game, and everybody when they think of puzzle games, they think of Portal. Okay,
Portal is so
that's
good.
A great one.
It's fantastic.
Nothing will ever take away from Portal being the greatest one. But what I'm saying is right next to that, a little bit lower and a little bit to the side. That's where Talos Principle fits in there.
If you go on a slight angle to the bottom, that's where that fits in.
It's just a little off target, but that game was excellent. Easily my game of the year. I think it may have competed with Ghost Runner 2 for my game of the year last year, but Talos Principle all the way up until the very, very last section of the game, it's introducing new mechanics the entire way through. I think it was 12, 15 hours-ish. It's a puzzle game, so that's varying, but oh man. And now that I'm thinking about it, I just want more. I still want more. I don't think there was ever DLC brought to it because I don't think enough people jumped on it at the beginning, and that's just a shame.
I saw it promoted around, right? But I didn't really hear anybody else talk about it. Not like the way you have, which is I always listen to the way you're talking about Talos Principle because it had my interest. I like puzzle games. How complicated are the puzzles?
It gets incredible. The whole time I was playing the game, I was thinking to myself, I never had that crash. I should not be able to do this. Like, this is difficult to most people, but if you're able to sit there and just kind of logic it out, you have some patience. You may need a little bit more patience.
Yeah, I'm not a good guy for patience, I'll be honest. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It definitely looked like it was something I wanted to be a part of, and I must have been on something else, or we only got one code or something on that
we
line.
played Entropy.
That was a cool game, too.
I think Entropy Center was a little bit harder. I only say that because I didn't finish the game. I got stumped at some light bridge part. It was frustrating, but...
Cool. So my game is the one I'm currently reviewing for the show, of all things. It's a bit of a unique one. It's something that came, disappeared. You could almost say it even got ghosted. I'm talking about Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. And, man, let me tell you a story, boys. I don't like the spookies. I don't like creepy ghosts. I don't like any of that stuff. I hate it all, actually. I am hooked. Like, hooked hard on this game. I am 10 hours in now of Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. And I can't believe there's just nobody else talking about it. And this is kind of where this whole subject of tonight's topic came from. Is like, did nobody else play this game? Like, where did everybody go? Like, I don't understand. There's such a cool dynamic. At the present, it is a love story, a love connection between Red, the main guy you play, and Tia, who is his partner, his lover, and she's died, but there's still this connection between the two of them, and you can travel back and forth. I remember watching the previews and watching the trailers and being like, this game looks incredible. Like, looks incredible. And we finally got a code after launch, unfortunately. But as I'm playing it, I'm chipping away. There's one of those games I'm like, okay, I'm going to play it, but I'm going to take my time to make sure I'm able to kind of dive right in. And then embargoes popped, right? So I was just like, man, oh man, I'll come back to it. But now that things have lightened up and I'm coming back to it, I'm like, how's nobody else talking about this cool freaking game? It is, you play this almost like a detective in a sense, and then it comes to a conclusion after your investigation of two people. They like, here's my review of the game already. It comes to this investigation of two people, right? And you have to pick one or the other. And you pick the side you are most comfortable with, but you're never sure if you're right. Like, that's like, there's no hard yes or no answer. There's no black or white. It is a gray zone, and it's up to you to go which side you want to go with. Who do you think was in the wrong? And then you can banish them. You can just free them from the spirits. You can just, there's some cool stuff. I met a creature today and I killed it, and it was sick.
What's creatures like? Are they spooky creatures?
So there's these
horrors.
Ghosts coming at you, right? I'm like, I hate ghosts. I just hate ghosts.
It's more like Luigi's Mansion.
No, it is not like Luigi's Mansion at all. Yeah,
but it's a game I missed out on.
I think it was scary. If you that fear factor for you, Drew, I thought it'd be more like Luigi's Mansion.
But yeah, it's funny because I go to bed last night and I fall asleep and I wake up about like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then all of a sudden this game kicks into my head and I had a hard time falling back asleep. It was just that I hated it. I was like, I almost got up, right? But it's one of those things. But the game itself is just the story, the world, the connections. It's definitely not perfect. It's got some things, and you can look for my full review. But I was like, man, nobody's talking about this game, and I'm really surprised, and just kind of shocked that everybody just let it go. I'm like, man, if only more people were talking about this. I'm curious to see where everybody else kind of lines up. Scott, I know that's one of the games you wanted in on. I was like, man, I wish I had another code for you because I'd love to get your thoughts on this particular game because it is so cool.
Well, it sounds like it's a good book, and it's a lot of the time I think that's players see that and that's not their thing, so they just bounce out before they really even know if it's their thing or not. Well, and that's a shame. I am a little bit more morbid-minded than the average bear, so I think this is something I would really appreciate.
It's funny, when we did get the game, we streamed like the first hour of the game, right? And our buddy Kyle was watching. He goes, man, if I was playing this, I probably would have bounced already. And we wrapped up that hour. I continued on for another half hour, and things just kind of hit. I was like, holy, what is happening here? And that set the tone in the game for the rest of the game for me. And it's just been on one of those moments, man. Like, yeah, it is.
That kind of goes back to what we talked about previously, though, where we do a game for review of sometimes, you know, we play, say, 6 or 7 hours, and it's like, this is not clicking with me. We do the review, and then you jump back into it, and then all of a sudden, everything clicks. You're like, wow, this is really, really good game.
Yeah.
And that's where you sort of think, do you think maybe it could have changed the score a little bit? not by much, but
yeah, I don't know how far that would go, Steve. At the end of the day, right? We always try to play as much as possible. What's up, Northern Nerdcast? We always try to play the game. We always try our best to finish the game too. But at the end of the day, we're a small team of 4 guys. We are literally 4 guys. We produce 4 shows in a week. Like, it is 3 to 4 shows depending on what's happening. Like, we're busy. We're a busy crew for just 4 whole people, right? And we try our best to make sure we accomplish the game to a point where at least we're comfortable talking about it. We're not gonna play the game for an hour and give you our review. That doesn't make any sense, right? We've never done that, and we won't do that because that just misleads our audience, and that's just not right. So if we do something for an hour, hey, we're straight up. This is a first impression, right? We jumped into. It's funny. We did Broken Roads, and Broken Roads. I was 8 hours in, nowhere near the end of the game. Scott was, I think, 2-3 hours in. So we did a first impressions. Here's where we are queued up in the game, right? And then we just laid it straight out. Where 9 times out of 10, if we're in for a full review, I'm trying the hardest I can, even if I'm beelining the story, to finish that up. Because that ending sometimes determines my score.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes we're just not able to sink in the amount of time. But if you're like halfway, 3/4 of the way through the game, pretty well, your score is already made up, right? So there's a bit of a difference there. So yeah, it just depends, right? But yeah, we're not going to give you a score if we're only an hour into the game. But yeah, it is one of those. It's an interesting thing to think about, Steve. Like, if we come back, but if the game hasn't hooked you in 6-7 hours, dude, that's not a game. Like, that's just not a good game, right? That's a problem, is what that really is.
But it could just be a slow burner.
Slow burner, like, man. Nobody has time these days. So, do talk. No, you got to tell me now. You're talking about Assassin's Creed. See my back just get up? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, all the hairs went up. I was going to say, for me, when I got into it, it took me a while to sort of get the rhythm going. It was a slow build up for me. And then, like sometimes Ubisoft ones, you get the title coming like 7 hours into the game. It's like, wow, that's just a pre-log kind of the build up to it. And then it gets going good. And sometimes you just don't have that time, or whether if it's going to click straight away. Yes.
Brad brings up a good point. Red Dead Redemption 2. 10 hours is just the intro, right?
Talk about a slow burn.
That is a slow burn. I hated that game when I first started it.
That's what I mean.
Hated it. But it's one of my favorite games of all time.
And then you have to review it. Would you give it the score they've put the hours into it now? Because
I don't know.
Those games are...
Well,
you need to put the hours in.
I think that's one of the other things too, right? So like we said, in a game like Red Dead 2, for example, that game is massive. It is massive. And depending on when we have it, because we produce a show each and every week, we have a limit, right? We play as much as you can, but at the same time, we got 10 different things on the go, trying to get the amount of content we can to produce our shows. Now, we also state in a lot of our reviews, we are this far within the game, right? And this way you can base your opinion off of our placement within that game. So, that way you're more comfortable knowing, okay, hey, Drew said he's only 2 hours in this. Scott said he's only 6 hours. Steve's finished the game. This is where we know we're at, right? That kind of thing. That helps. I think that helps being transparent and lets our audience know and be aware of where we are, so that we're not going, oh yeah, man, like we wrapped this thing up, and meanwhile we played an hour. Like we would never do that, first of all, right? It's just not on us to do that. So it is, but yeah, when you talk about Red Dead 2, man, I hated that game. I really did when I first started. And then the payoff by the time I got it, I'm 230 hours in that game. Now some of it, and a lot of it, came down to the online component too. So I'm actually probably further along than that now. But at the same time, what a story, what a journey, what an adventure, what a beautiful world, what incredible cast of characters, and what a setup to bring you into whatever's next for Red Dead 3.
I was going to ask you, because I haven't played it. I do know how it ends. Everybody should by now, but I want a third one.
Me too.
But I don't know who's there. Is the Vanderland gang around anymore? Is anybody around anymore? Does it all matter? Are you Billy the Kid now for the next game? Does it any matter?
So spoilers for Red Dead 1. Okay. At the end of that
greatest ending,
dude, it was insane, right? So I reached a point where John Marston is just lit up. The sheriff comes over the crew and just just lit him up against his own barn. I was like, wow, this is how it's gonna go? Like, really? Your character's dead?
And then you realize you're not making it out.
Yeah. And then it's his son takes over. So is Red Dead 3 now continue off of Red Dead 1? Because Red Dead 2 is actually a prequel to the whole story, right? That's the catch. So where does this set us up for 3? Or do we into a whole new setup? Like, I don't know.
If that picks up, I believe that's like 1903 or something when that game ends, the first game. Because remember, everybody's moving into the city. There's the automobile is now. It's getting really wacky if they do continue it from that point.
I'm curious to see, man. Only Rockstar. Like, I shouldn't say only, but Rockstar has such a talent, such a gift for telling a story. That Red Dead 2 was it was just pure magic, absolute magic. I know the intro is long, but it is such a setup to the rest of the game that just grind that out. And maybe we'll bring this into another topic for another podcast. But yeah, it is definitely such a cool thing. But yeah, man, getting back to Banishers, it's just, man, like, people are sleeping on this one. You're missing out on something cool, and I hope more people just kind of realize it. And then stay tuned for my full review because I got that coming up here real soon. But I'll dive in a little bit deeper in some of the other mechanics and things like that and how it makes me feel and this, that, and the other. But yeah, a lot of people are just like, whoa, man, like, I don't hear anybody else speaking about it. I hear nobody else.
No, it's part of that is because of the genre it is, and that makes a little bit of sense. Like, it's being a narrative game, and Alan Wake, if it didn't win so many awards and wasn't such a buzz at launch, it's almost dropped off entirely as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. It is, I think, a time and place for certain things. I think maybe that has it because it is such a story-driven single-player game. And the way the characters talk, too, it's just, like, I almost want to say quiet, in a sense, right? They're just, like, so, like, they're just a lot more, I don't want to say monotone, but toned down compared to other games where they bring up the energy and they're like, oh, no, this is happening now, blah, blah, blah. You don't get that. Like, it is just a straight-up conversation between the two of them, and then it is really, I'm just like, this is different. Like, it's just a different tone and a different feeling, and it's such a man, look for my full review. I'm telling you, I'll dive in deeper into this. But yeah, it's been something I hope people will then actually take a look at. Steve, a little reminder again, what game should people take a look at that you thought everybody's missing?
The Expanse.
Yeah,
a Telltale. Yeah.
Maybe we'll jump back in. Maybe we'll have to jump back in and wrap that up, eh?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's not just the narrative. There is kind of that third person as well, and out in space, collecting stuff for your jetpack.
Sure.
I've heard it's
really
really
interested
good.
to see what else will be there in the game, and what decisions you make.
Did you watch all the show?
I did. Yes.
Did Huh.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
And again, Scott,
I've heard it's really good compared to Firefly a lot.
That's
never watched a big compliment.
Yeah, fair enough. Remind everybody else what game they should be playing that you recommended.
The Talos Principle 2. I would recommend Talos Principle 1 as well, but 2 is just bigger and better, and it goes forever.
That's fair. That's very fair. And then at the end of the day, you can always keep up with us and everything we do here every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you stick around for everything else. Keep up to date with what we do over at ITGTV.com. We'll be back again, the three of us, as always, next Monday. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else in the way. You never quite know sometimes. We got some things heating up. So, yeah, stick around while you can. There's always something to talk about. We'll be back again tomorrow with ITG Daily. There'll be a lot to talk about tomorrow. I saw a couple things already dropping, so we'll be getting into those. But until then, I'm Drew. That's Steve. That's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.